Earlier, I mentioned that this class involves a lot of collaborative work. And you may have thought I said that because the vile machinations of my teacher mind devised the best possible way to torture you. I find a lot of students who come into this class initially don't like group work, so I have two metaphors to help explain why we have to do it. Now, when it comes to art making, there are some art forms that are solo sports. You've got your tennis, your swimming, your rhythmic gymnastics. But filmmaking is team sport. Just like basketball, baseball, soccer, you got a bunch of people coming together trying to do something special. But they can only achieve that goal of making magic happen if they're working together. One person can't do every job, and everybody needs each other to achieve their goal. Come on now, people, hustle, hustle. Filmmaking is a lot like pulling off a heist. If you've ever seen a heist movie, then you know they always start with a group of professionals, experts in their field, coming together to form a heist team. You've got the leader, the rich guy who finances it all, the explosives expert, the muscle, and of course, the hacker. But they can only be successful, get in, steal the big thing, and get out if they work together as a team. I'm in. Have you ever sat through all the credits at the end of a movie? And I'm talking all the credits, not just the first 30 seconds of the biggest names. It's a long process with a seemingly never-ending list of names scrolling by. When you watch the credits, you know just how many people and jobs it takes to create a film. Movies are an extremely collaborative art form because filmmaking requires so many different skills. You just can't do it alone. Most professional film casts and crews number in the hundreds or even thousands. We'd be here all day if I listed every job that people have on a film set. All of these different roles are essential to the creation of the film, and they're all interconnected, working together to make something bigger. My point is, in this class, group work is essential. In my experience, a lot of students come into this class dreading group work, and a lot of that has to do with negative past experiences. Everybody comes in with group work horror stories. And I kind of relate, because back in the olden days when I was in high school, I too hated group work.
Alright class, this next project will be a group project. I've already assigned your teams. You'll be in a group of 4. And I think this is going to be a really great opportunity for you to get a feel for what it's like in a real world setting. It's due in a week, so you should find time to meet outside of class, and it's worth 50% of your grade.
So what makes group work so bad? Why do so many people hate it? I have a hypothesis or two. First, a lot of teachers expect group work to be easy. That's probably because we teachers mostly work alone, so it's easy to forget that group work is hard. In my experience, many teachers throw students together and expect them to figure it out. There are no clear guidelines or rules for the process of actually working together. Second, developing relationships with other humans is hard work. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is. Friendship, familial, romantic, or just classmates. It takes a lot of work to coexist with other people. When working together, it's hard to get comfortable enough with people you don't know to be creative and productive right away. Maybe you struggle to accept that you can't control every aspect of the project, or find it difficult to speak up and share ideas with strangers. It can be challenging to trust new people enough to take creative risks together. Lastly, teamwork involves a lot of feelings, whether that's excitement, frustration, anxiety, or some combination of all three. Working with other people is an emotional process, and it requires a lot of honesty and trust to effectively collaborate. At this point, you may be wondering, Florian, why are we talking so much about feelings? Is this film class or therapy? The truth is, movies are all about emotion. The best films are the ones that really make us feel stuff. There's this quote I love from film critic Pauline Kael.
A good movie can take you out of your dull funk and hopelessness. A good movie can make you feel alive again, in contact, not just lost in another city. Good movies make you care, make you believe in possibilities again.
As filmmakers, we have to be in touch with our feelings so we can make meaningful movies, but also so that we can collaborate successfully. We have to recognize what we are feeling and be able to talk about it. However, there are so many emotions and they can change so rapidly. Sometimes working with others feels like emotional roulette.
But of course, talking about your feelings is actually really hard. So when I was a teenager, I took what I like to call the Batman approach, pretending my feelings didn't exist.
I don't talk about feelings, Alfred. I don't have any. I've never seen one. I'm a night-stalking, crime-fighting vigilante and a heavy metal rapping machine. I don't feel anything emotionally except for rage. 24/7, 365, at 1,000,000%. And if you think that there's something behind that, then you're crazy. Good night, Alfred.
I can't keep up the Batman voice. We're just gonna have to do the rest of this as regular old me. So, having your emotions and expressing them is actually really hardcore stuff. First, you have to figure out what you're even feeling. Then you have to work up the courage to say it to someone else. When I was a teenager, I was terrible at working with other people. I was a terrible collaborator. And that's because I was terrified that other people were going to mess up the project, so I just did all the work. Yes, I was one of those people. And then I was mad at my classmates for not helping me, and was resentful that I had to do all the work. And I hated group work even more with every passing day because I was in Batman mode. Of course, I couldn't express this to anybody, and I just kept bottling up my feelings, bottling them up, and of course, nothing good comes from bottling up your feelings. But I didn't know that back then. At the time, I thought, this is great. I never have to deal with these emotions. I'll just keep them bottled up forever. Eventually, I learned that if I never talked about my feelings, they would explode out of me in unfortunate ways. Getting into arguments with someone who didn't deserve it, or spontaneously feeling miserable and not understanding why. So how do we express feelings when collaborating before we get to the exploding stage? Let's watch an instructional video to find out.
Oh, hello there. I'm Florian T. Palucci, author of How to Work with Others, and I'm here to share a few tips for successful collaboration. My first tip is to talk to each other. It may seem basic, but speaking in ways that encourage understanding is a surefire path to success. A foundation of clear communication is a simple technique known as the I statement. The I statement is a way of phrasing things that focuses on you. What are you feeling? What do you want? What's going on for you? An easy way to form an I statement is to describe the situation, how you feel, and why you feel that way. For example, if you just cleaned and come back to find a room messy, you could describe the situation. When the room is a mess, how you feel, I feel frustrated and overwhelmed, and why you feel that way. Because I have to spend more time cleaning and I'm already busy. You can also follow an I statement up with a request from the person or people you're talking to. Can you clean up when you're done? Will you help me clean up this room? Or can we plan to spend 15 minutes cleaning later? The opposite of an I statement is a you statement. The you statement focuses on others rather than yourself. Let's see some examples from the world of cinema.
You need to step away. Why shouldn't the guy let off a little steam?
You know damn well why. Back off.
Oh, I'm starting to want you to make me.
Yeah. Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off. What are you?
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guy crawl over you.
I think I would just cut the wire.
Always a way out. You know, you may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero.
A hero? Like you? You're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle.
Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
You disgust me. My brother, you need to wake up. You will never be enough.
That's the trouble with you.
That's the trouble with ye.
With you! With ye! No! No!
Most arguments begin and escalate with you statements. They communicate blame and make people feel defensive, judged, or shamed. Instead of criticizing, I statements focus on your own feelings and perspectives. If we go back to our previous example, a you statement might sound like, "You wrecked this whole room. You made this place a pigsty. You can't even do something as simple as clean up after yourself." Compare that to our I statement. When the room is a mess, I feel frustrated and overwhelmed because I have to spend more time cleaning when I'm already busy. Which one is more likely to hurt someone? Which one is more likely to lead to a conversation and resolution that benefits everyone? My next tip is to listen. Most people think they're good listeners, but how often are we letting our minds wander, thinking about our own problems, or formulating a response instead of listening to the speaker? Let's take a look at an example of poor listening from the world of cinema.
The Emperor, and you're the Emperor's advisor. Remember that?
But, Your Highness, I was only dealing with meaningless peasant matters.
Whoa.
I may have...
Look at these wrinkles. What is holding this woman together? What the... How long has that been there?
Good thinking, Yzma. What do you say, Cusco?
Whoa, no touchy!
This is an example of passive listening. Passive listening is letting your mind wander rather than focusing on what the speaker is saying. The opposite of passive listening is active listening. Active listening is a method of improving communication through engagement with what another person is saying. The first step is to really pay attention. Try to minimize distractions and push away thoughts other than the speaker. Next is to ask questions to clarify without interrupting. Can you tell me more about this? What did you mean when you said that? Lastly, when the person is done talking, summarize what they said to check for understanding. What I heard you say was, or it sounds like you think. Practicing active listening keeps everyone on the same page and reduces misunderstandings. My final tip for improving collaboration is to work through conflicts as they arise. Conflict is simply a part of life. It doesn't have to be a screaming match or a fist fight. It can simply be two people wanting different things and finding a solution together. If I may embark on a bit of a personal tangent, I am a person whose instinct is to avoid conflict. If something bothers me, I tend to sweep it under the rug rather than bringing it up and risking conflict. And that tendency might not lead to problems at first. It starts with ignoring something small that doesn't seem important. But eventually, if I sweep it all under the rug, I can't really do anything because I'm overwhelmed by the pile of stuff I've been avoiding. So dealing with problems in a timely manner as they arise is what I like to call riding the conflict wave. Emotions, even big ones, are like a wave. They can feel huge and overwhelming, like you have to deal with them all on your own. Or they can be gentle and shared by many. However they feel, just like a wave, they eventually pass. If you're in an intense emotional situation, try these 3 steps. First, take a break. It's hard to have a conversation in the heat of the moment. So cool off, get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, and consider what you're feeling so you can come back to the situation with clarity. Next, talk about it. Share what you're feeling and what you need. Use I statements and actively listen to each other. After everyone has shared, your last step is to find solutions. Talk about what can improve your situation or help you avoid problems in the future. Conflict resolution skills are like a boat that can help you ride the emotional wave and arrive safely at your destination of collaborative triumph.
So that's my spiel about collaboration. Know that you're not alone in figuring this stuff out. It's my job as the teacher to help your groups work together successfully. And as a class, we'll be digging deeper into how we will collaborate so that we can all be successful this year.